a big welcome to our Engineering Development Program webinar. This is where we're going to give you some information about what we do. This is the first time we're running this program in Asia, so please bear with us. We've got a few very important people here today with us. We're going to introduce them, and we're going to talk about the program. Our current engineers in training are going to talk about what the program entails and their experience, so you get an understanding of what's to come, were you to be selected, and we're going to talk a little bit about the program itself, get to know each other. There will be a Q&A session at the end for any questions that you might have. We're just going to give people another 2 minutes to log in. We had to change the link because we got wind last minute that Zoom might not be the best means for our APAC people, so we switched to Teams. So we're giving people about 2 more minutes. If you just joined us, welcome to our engineering development webinar. Just giving people 1 more minute.
And their mics off when they come in as well.
Yes, if you just joined, please keep your mics muted. Your mics, not mine. Mics should be open, but keep your mics muted so there's not too much background noise. We already have quite a few people in the meeting, so we want to be respectful to everyone. This session will be recorded, so if you have anyone else that you want to forward it to, we can definitely do that after the webinar. If you want to rewatch it, or if you have to miss parts of it, it's absolutely fine. You can always come back and watch the recording. Okay, so good morning from London. It's quite early for us, but it's night time in Asia. We have people from different time zones here. So Will and Chonghui and Simon are joining us from Singapore. The rest of us are scattered across London, Aberdeen, some very cold parts of Scotland. Cool. Give people 1 more minute and then we can start.
Just going to add some to the Q&A, people.
Yeah, that's absolutely fine. Okay, so I think we've got enough people in. People that join. I just very democratically did it myself. So good morning, everyone. I'm Kate Kotiou. I'm the ABL Group Learning and Development Manager, and this is a new department, but there's been a considerable investment on the part of the company in developing our people and helping everyone grow. Part of our learning and development offering is our engineering development program, where we take people that have recently graduated from university and give them opportunities to rotate globally around the world. There is also the direct entry program where we hire someone who's graduate, we give them some training, and we place them to one specific office. Can you give me thumbs up if you can hear me? Okay, please. Yeah.
Yeah.
All right. Perfect. So many thumbs up. Thank you, guys. Cool. We have some wonderful people with you today. So we've got Stuart Mills. Stuart has 40 years of experience. He's EDP manager and mentor. Stuart, do you want to introduce yourself? Say hi.
Yeah, good afternoon, everybody. My name's Stuart Mills. I'm managing the engineering development program. I've been with ABL for 10 years. As Kate said, I've got around 40 years experience in the industry, so it's all you guys' opportunity now to do the next 40 years, and I can take a back seat. Okay.
Thank you, Stuart. So we've got Jake was meant to be here, but unfortunately he can't make it. Jake is also helping us manage the engineering development program. He actually found the program years ago, and he's been the godfather of our young engineers, helping them grow and learn. And he's our group director of engineering. And then we've got Liam as well. Liam will be taking over from Stuart in the years to come. And he's the person behind all the organization, all the planning, for the webinar, together with Stuart and our colleagues in Singapore. So, Liam, do you want to say a few things about yourself?
Yeah, hi everyone. So yeah, my name's Liam. I've been working in the L&D department at ABL Group since May. Prior to that, I had quite a long career in the education sector, where I was fortunate to work here in the UK, but also in Asia, mainly in Shanghai and Guangzhou. So it's really good to be connecting with the APAC region again, and I can't wait to speak with you further along this EDP journey.
Perfect. Thanks, Liam. We'll also have, you'll hear it from us, but you're also going to hear it from the horse's mouth, from the people that are actually part of the program at the moment. We have Amy Barker. Amy's going to introduce herself and say a few things about herself later. We've got Shrey, project engineer based in London. Will Duggan, who's based in Singapore at the moment. He's a marine engineer. Talk to you about his experience. And Z, who's a graduate engineer up in Aberdeen. So I'll give you a brief introduction to the company, and then we'll talk about the program. How do you apply? What are the next steps? And what to expect from us? If anyone has any questions, feel free to put them in the chat, or we can take them on later at the Q&A session. Can I have the next slide, please? Yeah.
Sorry.
Oops. Sorry. So ABL Group, the easiest way to describe this is to say that we are a marine engineering and digital solutions consultancy, and we work in the energy and maritime sectors. So we have our renewables branch, which is OWC, and they do such clever stuff. I'm not probably the best positioned person to tell you about it, but you will hear it from some people that have worked with OWC. So they do engineering, technical advisory, and consultancy for offshore and onshore renewable energy. And they do some really cool stuff, especially in Asia. We're very strong when it comes to floating offshore wind. Longitude is our engineering branch, and Will can tell you more than I can about Longitude. So Longitude does independent engineering. They were showing me some of the such clever ship design that they're doing. And I think, Will, you're doing an electric vessel for Singapore. I'm not sure. You'll get to hear all about it later. ABL is the biggest part of the group. And we work, again, across renewables, maritime, and oil and gas. Simon, you can fill in any gaps here later, maybe. You can help us. Simon is the Regional Managing Director of ABL in Asia. Thanks for joining us in Asia Pacific. Thanks for joining us, Simon. And then
hi, everyone.
Do you want to introduce yourself, Simon, and say a few things about ABL? You'll do better justice than I will.
Yeah, sure can. So Simon Healy, as Kate just mentioned, so I'm the Regional MD for Asia Pacific, based in Singapore. We've got a big team working with us in the region. So across our main countries' operations, 8 countries in Asia, with the likelihood that we'll be expanding that to 11 countries of operations over the next couple of years. I myself am a master mariner, so I come from a technical offshore and shipping environment. And since moving ashore, I've been involved with lots of different parts of the shipping industry in ship management and consultancy for the last 6 or 7 years now. So very much keen to see the engineering development program expanded in Asia, and I think it's a fantastic opportunity for those people that want to put themselves forward to learn a lot about the industry and to develop a great career in a fascinating area.
Thank you, Simon, and thank you for being so supportive of the program. Simon was the person that literally came to us and said, Kate, we need to do this in Asia as well. So thank you for all the support that you've given us.
Thank you, Kate. It's great to get it off the ground.
We've received such a great interest, so many really, really good applications. So I'm very excited to see who makes it in. Then we have AGR. AGR is a new addition, so they do well management and well control, but they also have dedicated engineering software that they use. I don't know if I made that justice, but I was looking in the chat to see if we have anyone from AGR, and I couldn't find anyone. But you can find more about the company, and if you have any questions about any specific part of the company, we can connect you with the right people. Please feel free to reach out. Can I have the next slide, please, Liam? These are a little bit about our offshore wind experience, and I think this slide might be out of date because we keep on building on that experience. It is our most rapidly growing part of the company. We've done 33 floating projects, over 13 gigabytes floating capacity, 260 offshore wind projects since the founding of OWC in 2013, and over 150 gigawatt total offshore wind capacity. We are the leading expert one of the leading experts in offshore wind, and this is where we're really, really strong. Next slide, please. Very gladly, I pass over to Amy to talk about her experience with the program, but also what she's learned and introduce herself a little bit. So, Amy, over to you.
Thank you, Kate. So, hi everyone. I'm Amy, and I've been with ABL Group on the EDP for just over a year now, and I'm currently working in offshore wind in the London office. Next slide, please. Thank you. So before the EDP, I studied ship science at Southampton University, after which I joined the ABL Group Engineering Development Programme, where I started off working with Longitude in the Southampton office, where I mainly worked in the naval architecture and hydrodynamics teams. And then for my second rotation, which is where I am now, I decided to rotate to OWC London office to work in renewables within the ports and harbours and cables service lines. And also alongside the everyday role that you have in ABL Group, there are many opportunities to develop yourself. So an example of this, as shown in this picture, I was given the opportunity to give a presentation with my colleague on engineering net zero ships during shipping week at the ABL monthly maritime market briefing. And yeah, so now I'll move on to my experiences in the EDP rotation so far. So whilst at Longitude, I was lucky enough to be involved in a very wide range of projects, and I really enjoyed having Longitude as my first placement, as it allowed me to build on what I'd learned at university, and I was able to develop a strong technical background, which has been really helpful when moving to OWC. And in terms of the work that I carried out, I had a good split between vessel design and hydrodynamics engineering, and I would often get to work on projects with other teams and entities within the group, and it was very enjoyable to collaborate with people with a range of expertise. And so the hydrodynamics work that I did didn't just involve vessels, so I also conducted some mooring design analysis for floating offshore wind structures, which is what sparked my interest in a rotation to OWC. And during my time at Longitude, I was also lucky enough to do a site attendance, where we were inspecting a vessel structure underneath the flight deck. It's just shown on the pictures at the top here. And it was really great to see ship structure in person, as it gives you a much better understanding of the scale of vessels, and it's much bigger than it looks on the computer. Next slide, please. Thanks. So moving on to where I am now, I'm at OWC, where I've opted to split my time between two teams, as I'm keen to gain a very broad experience all my time with EDP. And the flexibility of the scheme is very refreshing, and line managers are always supportive with finding projects and roles that help you work towards your gaps that you have in fulfilling chartership criteria or professional development objectives. And so in the Renewable Ports and Harbours team, I've got involved with port suitability assessments for floating and fixed offshore wind, and also alternative fuel storage. And there are also opportunities for port site visits. There's a picture here of the ports team on a site visit to the port of Nig, I think, in Scotland. And the cables work involves determining the route of the wind farm export cable from the wind farm to a point on the shore, which we call the landfall. And this involves identifying all hazards on the seabed, such as shipwrecks, unexploded ordnance, and geological features. And we can use this information along with the requirements of cable installation operations in order to determine a cable route. And I've been able to use some of what I learned during Longitude cables analysis to do this work, and I've enjoyed getting a broader understanding of the cable installation process as a whole. And just overall, there's a very wide variety of work that you can get involved with in OWC, and I'm looking forward to the rest of the year. But that just summarises where I'm at now, so I will hand over to Shrey, I think.
Thank you, Amy. That looked more like a picnic, nice outing than the side investigation, the second image, the ports image.
Yeah.
Ray, we're handing over to you to talk about casualty investigation.
Hi, everyone. So, yeah, I'm Shrey, and like Kate said, currently working as part of the casualty investigation team at ABL London. Kate, could I have the next slide, please? So, I graduated with an MEng in mechanical engineering from UCL in 2022. And along with my mechanical engineering degree, I also pursued a minor in ocean engineering and picked other electives which were related to naval architecture, which was my motivation behind starting the EDP at ABL. I started the scheme in September of 2022 and moved to Aberdeen in Scotland to start my first rotation, after which I came down to London and have been in this role for about 3 months as part of my second rotation now. Kate, could I have the next slide, please? So for my first year, I was a part of the Marine Warranty Survey team, or MWS. And as a Marine Warranty Surveyor, your job is essentially to review engineering calculations and procedures as a third party to ensure that all the marine assets involved in any operation, so your ship, your crane, your crew, as well as the payload, are all safe. The bottom 3 images on this slide are actually from site inspections that I went on as a Marine Warranty Surveyor on different ports in Scotland. And interestingly, the picture on the bottom right is taken from inside the cargo hold of a general cargo vessel. So that's just to give you a general idea of the scale of things, as Amy was mentioning earlier. Now, with time, I got to work on more diverse projects like sea fastening design and operations engineering. For instance, if you look at the 2 images on the top right, this was part of a sea fastening design project where I had to work out how to secure the green structure on a ship's deck such that it doesn't move when being transported from the port to an offshore oil platform. So that was something really interesting. Kate, could I have the next slide, please? Now, so far in my second year, I've already gotten involved in a lot of things that are nothing like what I was doing last year, which was very refreshing. Broadly speaking, my role in London can be split across 3 teams. The first of these is casualty investigation. Despite what the name suggests, it's not always this dramatic, but always something new. For example, for my last project, I had to work out why a device that was initially predicted to improve fuel efficiency ended up having the opposite effect. So this involved a lot of new research on something I knew nothing about, and then coming up with an explanation for that, why that might have happened. The next category would be port suitability investigations, which Amy has mentioned already, so I won't go into that again, but it's really interesting work. And finally, navigational risk assessment, where we get to study the effects of new developments in the ocean, like offshore wind farms or any change in a route or any different legislation that came out, and see how that might impact ship collisions or general safety at sea. And then we can provide a report based on our traffic analysis. So that's what I've been up to so far, and can't wait for what's to come next. Thank you.
Thank you, Shrey. That's very interesting. And I'm learning a lot of new things here as well. Will, can we pass over to you? Will is actually currently based in Singapore. I forgot to update that. That's my bad. Will, do you want to talk to us about marine systems engineering?
Sure.
Your experience.
Thanks, yeah, cool. Hi, I'm Will. I'm currently working as a marine engineer for Longitude Singapore and in a 3rd year of the EDP. I've got a master's in mechanical engineering from the University of Portsmouth, and I actually did a placement year as a marine engineer working on small passenger vessels and tugboats on the River Thames. This kind of like started my interest in the marine industry and wanted to pursue a career in it. And then during my master's year, I applied for the ABL EDP and then moved to Aberdeen for the MWS team, similar to Shrey, in my first year in 2021. And then I moved to Newcastle and actually worked in the marine systems team there for a year before rotating out here. Next slide, please. So currently, marine systems team. I'm mainly focusing on vessel conversion and concept design, and in particular alternative fuels. So, for example, methanol, hydrogen, but we also look at batteries and hybrid systems. This picture in the top right here is the High Seas 3 hydrogen ferry, which is designed to operate in the islands in the north of Scotland. So I personally worked on the P&IDs for the fire system, fueling system and inerting system. But structural engineers, naval architects all work together to come up with the final design, which achieved approval in principle by DMV in September 2022. Some other work that I've been doing is piping isometrics, valve and pipe selection, pump sizing, and using all of these combined, I've worked on things like ballast systems, which is this bottom picture here. It was an existing ballast system, but they needed a new treatment system put in. So we kind of reworked the P&IDs and input the treatment system with the various pipe sizing, pump sizing, and the valve selection. Recently, I worked with the structural engineers here for a caisson replacement for an offshore module. It was quite interesting to see because it was a simple one-to-one replacement, so there wasn't much to it, but it was interesting to see how my P&ID for the seawater system matched up to the previous P&ID system that they had. So outside of the MWS team, like I said previously, I was in the marine warranty surveying team in Aberdeen. I did shoreside loadouts, some pipe spooling, and then through experience, I then went offshore and did pipe lay and decommissioning. The pictures on the right-hand side was my favourite project to date, I would say. It was a decommissioning of the Duggan Alpha platform in the North Sea. We sailed out, I flew over to Stavanger and then sailed out from Stavanger for 3 days, decommissioned the topside for about a week, and then sailed back. But it was particularly interesting because the bottom picture shows a record-breaking heaviest suspended loaded transport in the world. So being part of that was quite something. Since I've been out in Singapore, I've actually managed to work alongside the ABL team and shadow some senior surveyors to get out to an LNG carrier and use my enclosed entry certification to get into the tanks, as well as then go to a livestock carrier which had a engine fire. So that was interesting just to kind of get some other experience outside of marine systems and work alongside ABL and Longitude at the same time. Aside from work experience though, the EDP I would say is great for personal development. It's great for travel. I hadn't been to Singapore before moving here in September, and so far I've loved it. I'm scheduled to move on in September, but I think if I can possibly stay a bit longer, I will look to. But if not, I'm sure there'll be somewhere else that's interesting to move to. I know, for example, Aberdeen is somewhere that I probably wouldn't have ever gone to if it wasn't for work, but I ended up loving it. I enjoyed the work, made a good group of friends and got stuck in, and would definitely go back. So that's where I'm at on the EDP so far. I've got 1 year left and I'm looking forward to what's to come. Thank you.
Love this. Thanks, Will. And thanks to all of you for sharing your photos. It's heartwarming to see you putting your theoretical experience into your theoretical, background into practice, and some of your photos are spectacular. Dee, can we pass on to you to talk about AIM and asset integrity management? Again, I've been Aberdeen. Aberdeen is mentioned a lot. We do have other offices that we rotate to. It's just a coincidence, just letting you know. Dee, over to you.
Okay, thanks, Kate. Hi, my name is Zhao, and I'm currently on my first year on the Engineering Development Program in ABL AIM Aberdeen, or we used to call it At Energy Aberdeen. Here, I mainly learn about asset integrity management and some maintenance engineering work. So a little background about me is that I am born and raised in Malaysia. Since that this is an Asia Pacific region EDP webinar, I figured out that this would be a more relatable introduction. So I studied chemical engineering in oil and gas technology in Heriot-Watt University in Edinburgh. And I joined the ABL's EDP scheme on September 2023 with ABL AIM Aberdeen. Next slide. As this is only my 4th month into the engineering development program in AIM, I mainly worked on one project so far, which is the North British Distillery Maximo Build project. North British is a grain whiskey distillery that's located in Edinburgh, and it is a very, very old distillery that is founded in 1885. And sadly, we don't get to drink free whiskey while we're on site because that's kind of like a hazard. So
I was going to
what do
ask
I
that.
actually do? So what do I actually do in AIM? So the main goal of AIM is actually to manage and mitigate risks associated with operation assets, such as facilities, equipment, and infrastructure. And also we optimize their performance and extending their operational life. So this is rather crucial in industries such as oil and gas and other high-risk sectors where the failure of critical asset can cause serious consequences. So in short, what I do is actually to increase reliability, reduce likelihood, improve safety performances, and optimizing costs over time. So to me, this is actually like a perfect start to my EDP years because that what I learned here is basically the fundamental of engineering, and it provides me with a strong base in health and safety. So currently my role in the team is to develop asset hierarchies and also bills of materials. It is essentially to identify the criticality of all individual equipment and infrastructure of the whole plant. So a good example, an easy one, is kind of like a pump that distributes water is much less critical than a pump that distributes spirit, because of like the economic and the environmental criticality reason. So from that, we know that the criticality of the individual equipment, and we can assign and interrogate the existing client maintenance strategies and also their procedures. So I remember last year, during our data collection phase, the team and we actually traveled down Edinburgh for a few weeks to walk over the whole distillery and inspect every little corner of the plant. So I think it's a really good opportunity where I get to travel down site just within the first week of me joining and actually seeing and feeling a living and operating plant. The vibe is completely different from what I get to understand from just university or just sitting in the office. So what my manager told me is that in other company, it might actually take months or even years before they would send a graduate to work on site and actually to get in touch with the client itself. So what makes me really happy in the EDP is to be able to contribute to the company as a graduate. So some other experiences that I had in the company is that I do not only learn about oil and gas or renewable stuff, but like I mentioned before, there's distillation, there's brewing, there's many different type of project that you might come onto and you can learn a lot from those. So, and also, it's interesting to learn about new software that I've never seen before, like FEO. FEO is a software that we use for maintenance system build, and it's actually created by Add Energy itself. So at last, my favorite part of the EDP is actually being around supportive people. It's not just the people in a company that's really supportive, like Kate, Jewett, Liam, they will give you all their supports when you're new or throughout the program. And even the previous EDP seniors, they would just share to you about like their experiences, and that really helps you to get the hang of it really fast. So us graduate, we actually have like our own leader meeting every month. And I think it's like on this Friday, where everyone would just like kind of share their experience and just chit chat a little. And also we have a SharePoint that Jasper created that's very useful, and it has all the useful guides and logbook template for us to work on getting the chartership in the future, which is incredibly useful, and I think this will be mentioned later as well. Finally, as a graduate here, I never really felt alone, and I always know there will be support for me. All right, that's all from me.
Thanks so much, Lina, for your nice words as well. That's been really, really nice. And thank you all for sharing your photos. Thanks for sharing your experience. There's a bit of background noise, I think.
Someone's got their mic on.
Okay, thank you for that.
Jake.
So, Jake, do you want to talk a little bit about the program?
Yep, yeah, I certainly can. Hi, everyone. I'm
You want
Jake
to
Anderson.
introduce yourself, Jake, as well.
Say again, sorry? Can you hear me?
Do you want to introduce yourself as well?
Yes, yep. I'm Jake Anderson. I look after engineering. By engineering, I mean sort of design and analysis engineering within the ABL Group. I have two hats really. I look after engineering, and then I look after Longitude, which is, as you heard earlier, the sort of the engineering branch of the company. So the concept of the engineer development program is that we rotate people between the different parts of the company. So you saw earlier, we have 4 brands within the company: Longitude, ABL, AGR, and OWC. At the moment, AGR, the work they do doesn't really fit in with the EDP, but certainly the other 3 brands, we have lots of early career engineers within those brands. So we take people on, and then each year we rotate people through the different brands so that they become really rounded engineers, that they understand, get a wide, broad foundation of what engineering is. We also do employ what we call direct entry engineers. So those are people that just come in and work really in one office for one company to satisfy the local needs of that company. And we look after people who join us in that way. But really, this presentation is about the rotations, the people on the rotation program. Thanks. Do you want to move on? So the basis of the scheme, what do we provide to you? If you were to join us, we provide this sort of long list of things. We provide you with a technical mentor within the group. We've got hundreds of really competent engineers in the group, and you will be assigned a mentor, someone who can technically guide you within the company. We provide logbook templates which help you record your training. Now, if you were to seek chartered engineer status, then that would help with your chartered application. We, as described earlier, we provide links to other engineers in the group. So there are groups where you meet all the other EDP participants. And then we can provide support when people apply for their chartered engineer status, if they do so, give them example reports and guidance on that. But from a technical point of view, because we do a really broad range of things as a company, by rotating between the different brands and the different teams, you really get an exposure to a very wide range of work. You know, it's interesting hearing earlier people say, oh, I would never have gone to Aberdeen and done this if it weren't for the scheme. And actually, by trying new things, people really work out actually what they're good at and what they're interested in. Because we understand, of course, you've come from university, you only know what you know so far. We need to find out give you an introduction to all the things you could do, so you can find where your strengths really align. And the scheme really gives a greater profile to people within the group. You know, when you rotate around different entities, you become known to a lot of people, and that can really help with your career development. Thanks, Liam. You know, there are benefits to the company as well. I think on the left there, really, these are some of the things I've just described. We do have benefits to the company as well. You know, it really helps us by having people who rotate around different parts of the company, because they're transferring knowledge and experiences across the entities to make sure everyone's aligned. By people being on the EDP, then we have people who really know the company well. And actually, we think that people on the EDP are the perfect managers for the future, because they know that all the things we do as a company, not just this or that or that. And we think it's a way of attracting top talent. You know, we are an international company. We want to provide really interesting careers to people. So we want to attract the best people as well. And we think the EDP is a really good way to do that. Thanks, Liam. So at the end of it, what have you achieved? So the program is designed to align with the objectives set by the Engineering Council, which you may or may not know about. It's actually a UK-based organisation, but they provide good guidance and structure for the development of engineers through the first 4 years of their lives. So we have aligned with that with that structure, which then allows you to apply for a chartered engineer status. Now, understand that is actually a UK sort of qualification, if you like, or level, but actually we're accredited by 4 professional organisations, which, while they are really they're UK, they are actually also very international. Like, I know RINA has a branch in Australia, in Singapore, and they have smaller international branches as well. And I'm sure you've probably come across ICE, the IMechE and IMarEST. So by following that program, you know, you will get a broad set of engineering skills. You'll get experience of different fields and markets and sectors. And we think you'll be able to cope with a rapidly changing and developing company and market. And really, I think the international exposure is really important as well. It's great to see people get out and meet make friends and make new colleagues in new countries and new places that they just had never thought of going to before. Thanks, Lynn. And then, I mean, it's not all work; it is play as well. We can't guarantee that you'll get to go sailing and you know, canoeing down a canal and whatever, but we do. Culture is really important to us, and I find it really heartening when the EDP people are talking about the fact that they make friends in the company on this program. And we think it's really important that we create teams, and the teams are efficient and work together well, and that work is a place that people want to come to. So we do have fun days out as well, you know, and these photos are a mixture of people on EDP getting site experience in shipyards, of sailing in the Renewables UK Cup, I think. Top right is the Costa Concordia wreck removal down in Italy. So we have all sorts of things going on, and your experience in ABL is important to us. Thanks, Lim. And then we've got a couple of testimonials, which I'm really proud when our EDP people become senior people within the organisation. So Kevin Sersky, he was a really early EDP person, started all the way back in 2011, and he was the managing director of Norway for quite some time. And then Maria, she's now the country manager in Greece. So you know, that if you join us, you go through the program, you learn, you gain all that experience, and you've got the right the characteristics and enthusiasm, then this is absolutely a career development program as well. Okay, thanks, Liam.
Oops, sorry. So, yeah,
back
sorry.
to you, Kate.
Thank you. A little bit about the application process, just in case you have any questions. First of all, a huge thank you to all the presenters, to people that made time out of their very busy schedules to come in and contribute to the presentation today. And it's been, honestly, it's been heartwarming for me to hear all your stories. I do reach out to you individually, but we don't always get that time. So it's really nice to see that you're making the most of the program, and that's why the program exists. A little bit about the application, if you have any questions. So the applications close on the 31st of January. So if you want to apply, now's the time. Now's as good a time as any. We have the graduate webinar today, and then we will be holding an assessment day in March 2024. The date will be announced to the successful participants soon. can I invite Chong Hui? Chong Hui is our country manager in Singapore, and the assessment day will most likely be hosted by our office in Singapore. If for whatever reason you couldn't make it there, we could always host a virtual assessment day as well. We've done that in the past. But Chong Hui, do you want to just introduce yourself and say hi to the people present?
Okay, hi. Hi, thanks, Kate. Hi, everyone. I'm Chong Hui, the country manager of Singapore. A bit about myself. I have been in this industry for 20 years. Like, this is probably the third. I mean, I stepped into the industry sometimes around the third jobs. When I graduated, from Singapore University, NTU, with a civil and structural engineering degree. But I did not actually go into the civil world, but I joined the offshore oil and gas, and today in the energy industry. So for 20 years, half of my careers are with ABL. I've been with ABL for 10 years since 2013. So I see the company grow, at the same time also grow myself in the company. I would say that I enjoy my time with the company. Of course, I won't lie that there are also a lot of stressful times, but I think from engineers, moving up to the managements, we need to learn, we need to manage our stress. I think that's a very important message. I always like the statement that we study hard, we work hard, at the same time we also play hard. We need to have a balance. So my message really to everyone is encourage yourself to join the program, take up the challenge, same time manage yourself, have a good work-life balance. Thank you.
Thank you, Chong Hui. That's really, really nice. And that's an excellent way for us to close the webinar. Like Jake said, for us, I absolutely love the group. I joined the group 3 years ago, and I've been loving every minute of it. For us, culture is very important. For keeping our people happy is very important, and helping people grow and develop is personally my passion. So I think that's all from us. Does anyone have any questions? Would you like to ask them either by unmuting yourselves or by putting them in the chat? So Alexander, do you want to unmute yourself?
Yeah, hi. I'm not sure. Can you hear me?
Yeah, we can.
Yeah, great. So I just had a question. I'm tuning in from Melbourne at the moment, and I'm just wondering. I'm just finishing off my honours year study, and I'm studying offshore wind turbines, monopiles. I was wondering, when I was doing the application process, I saw that the direct entry program sort of was only an option, or it seemed only an option for master's students. I was just wondering if the direct entry is open to people sort of finishing honours study, or if that's exclusively for people finishing their masters, or yeah, just a little bit more information about that.
No, the direct entry program would be open to masters and honours students. So you wouldn't have to have a master's to apply for the direct entry program. Jake, I'm correct in saying that, right?
Direct entry, really, you're filling an immediate role within a company. Within the UK, you can't get chartered engineer without a master's. So within Longitude, we generally don't take on direct entry people without masters because they can't get chartered engineer, and that's a level that we would like. But other parts of the company are different. So OWC are happy to take on people without masters, but they don't necessarily do so much analytical engineering and don't need people to be chartered. So it's less because we're here really more for the EDP. We can tell you about what the EDP needs. For the direct entry people, in a way, you're applying for a specific job, and the needs might be different for each job.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So it really depends on the position, and you can keep an eye on all the available positions as well on our website, Alexander. And Simon is not with us anymore, but Simon knows the Australian market quite better than I do. So we can connect you with him.
Simon is here.
Oh, Simon is here.
Mhm.
Simon, you still here? Okay, Simon, I don't know if you want to answer that question. We did, Jake, for the APAC version of the program, we did waive the necessity to have a master's to apply. So you can still apply for the positions. You might just be placed to a different part of the company. But yeah, Simon,
That's
I don't.
correct, Kate. As far as I'm aware, that's exactly the case.
Yep. Okay. Thank you. Thanks for the information.
No problem.
Thanks.
Good luck.
Kelvin in the Q&A.
Perfect. So, Lim, do you want to read out the question?
So hello team, thank you for the info session. It was quite insightful. I'm a graduate from NUS Singapore. I have a small query. I had recently given an interview for another position at ABL Singapore. Suppose I do not get through the interview. Does that affect my application with EDP, as I'm still interested in joining?
No, it doesn't. It doesn't. Like we said, it might be a different, entirely different position altogether. So the requirements for each position are different. So there is no reason why not making to one position would disqualify for another position. And in fact, as a group, we do encourage people to apply and reapply. If you don't make it on the first time, you might make it on the second. We've actually had people that applied for last year's EDP that didn't make it in to reapply this year. So take your chances. Don't be afraid to take the plunge, and definitely do apply. Anyone has any questions, you can put them in the Q&A. You can raise your hand. You're welcome, Govind. Mohammed, do you want to unmute yourself and ask the question?
Hi, hello, can you guys hear me?
Yep.
Yeah, we can.
Yeah, we can. All right, I'm Arif from Malaysia. So for the assessment, may I know what kind of assessment will be held?
Sure, Arif, can you please mute yourself? There's a bit of feedback. I'll answer. Thank you. So I'll answer your question, but it was just a bit of feedback. So normally what we do in assessment days is we're on an assessment center, and that includes trying to assess different aspects of your skill sets, which will be really and actually used in your experience with ABL. So what do? We present to clients. So we will ask you to do a presentation on a subject that is actually of interest to you. It doesn't matter what subject that is. Then we do interviews, like standard interviews. We have a behavioral exercise to see how you behave in a group and whether you are you possess the right qualities for the role. And there is also a short technical test that we ask people to take to assess their technical capabilities. So we try to assess a range of different skills. It's a quite intense assessment, I'm not going to lie, but it's the people that have completed the assessment have gotten good reviews in terms of the whole experience, and we normally end with networking drinks. So even if people do not make it in the actual program, you still get an opportunity to network and meet expert engineers in your field and network with very, very highly qualified and clever people. So does that answer your question, Arif?
Yes, absolutely.
Anyone else has anything you want to ask, anything you want to put in the Q&A? Of course, we're always available. You've got our contact details. Can I have the next slide, please?
Yeah, sure.
Yeah, you've got our contact details here.
Oh,
oops.
No, that was just enough.
No, it's just me. But you've got, you should have been contacted by our email with this invite, and you can find our application in our careers page. So feel free to reach out to us, any questions, anything you want to ask. So I'm going to give people one last minute to ask questions.
Yo. Hello, can you hear me?
Hello, is that Alessandro? Yeah.
Can you introduce yourself? Hi.
Yeah, hi everyone. My name is Alassane. I'm from Senegal. I graduated through the high school training Maritime engineering mechanical in Senegal. My lot of experience in my background. Yeah, can you hear me?
We can't hear you very well. Would you mind putting your question in the Q&A? But if you're based in Senegal, this would not be the right program for you. We do have a Europe-based program. So I think you might have gotten the wrong invite here.
Yeah, so first of all, let me introduce myself.
Oh, I'm sorry, we can't hear you. Can you try typing your question?
Yeah,
I've got
I
a
say
question.
when we graduate here in Senegal, West Africa, so it is possible to work with the company, or we start our career with your company.
They've been
No,
Senegal office.
I'm really sorry. We can bring you in contact with the Senegal office, and they can answer that question, I think. But if I couldn't hear it 100%, please put it in the chat so we can have another question in the chat to take right now. But I'm sorry for that. The connection is really bad. So Roy says, any chance that there is a timeline on when do we know we are selected for the assessment day in March 2024? Liam, do we have an assessment for reviewing CVs for APAC?
So the applications close on the 31st. So I think for the first couple of weeks of February, people will be reviewing those. And then we hope to give people around 2 weeks notice.
Yeah, so you will have around 2 weeks notice to know about the assessment day. Hopefully that's enough. But if for whatever reason there are clashes in your schedule and you can't attend, we can always facilitate a virtual assessment day. In the worst case scenario, we always prefer to have people face to face and give them that opportunity to shine.
Yeah, we moved it to March because of the Chinese New Year celebrations as well and stuff. So
exactly. So we're trying to be considerate as well. Thank you. Perfect. Anyone else has any questions? Anything you want to ask? Anything you want to add? I think there's one last question. Could you provide more insights into projects within the APAC region? Oh, that's an interesting question.
Good question.
Good question. So Simon or Chonghui, do you want to help us with this? Or maybe even Jake, I don't know how versed you are with the projects that are happening right now in the APAC region.
Yeah, I mean, I can talk about the engineering projects. We have lots of engineers based in Asia. We have a Longitude hub office in Singapore, which takes on lots of different projects. Will is based in Singapore now. You heard from earlier, doing marine systems engineer. We have structural, naval architecture. We're moving into process. We have ship design. We work across the different markets. We're doing oil and gas and FPSO projects. We're doing ship design projects. We're doing more and more renewables engineering projects, offshore wind projects in Taiwan, moving into Australia now, early days in Australia. So we do the same types of projects as a company in Asia that we do in Europe, really. Yeah, lots of design and analytical engineering of all disciplines in Asia.
Yeah, like I can add to that as well. In respect of marine warranty engineering review, we do a lot of projects, offshore construction and rebuilding of offshore assets and the like as marine warranty, and that involves quite a lot of in-depth review of the proposed plans and design of those projects and then the installation. So there's, from an engineering perspective, a lot of input into that. And also, as Jake was saying, on the design side, we also have sort of a crossover into the ABL more operational side of the business, where there's an opportunity to get involved with, for example, offshore projects where there's an engineering component to it, which may also be involved with vessel operations. It may also be involved in subsea cable installation and the operational aspects of how these projects are going to be undertaken, and the design of the actual asset combined with how it's going to be used. So it's quite an interesting area because it's not just one aspect. We're actually able to kind of cover from one side, which is the sort of design, more into the operations as well. So quite interesting for people who are wanting to learn a lot about different aspects of the industry. we were able
So
to
we're
cover
covering-
several different areas.
We're covering almost the full life cycle of the project then.
Yeah, very much so. And decommissioning is part of that as well, actually. I didn't mention, but you know, for the removal of assets when they come to the end of their life, we're also involved with, you know, the how to do that, and also in the making sure that it's done properly. So as warranty.
And that includes like ship recycling and single voyage and that.
Yeah, exactly. So there's a very large number of different areas that we were involved with. It would be quite hard to mention them all in one brief sentence, but you know, I can say from my own experience that you know, every day is different within the group, and there's a lot of different questions we get asked and projects we get asked to assist with. You know, everything from life extension of an aging asset, you know, as to how that could be made possible, and what can we do to verify that that is possible, all the way through to design of a new asset and you know, implementation of a new idea. Some shipping companies come to us now with, you know, requests for working out how the vessels that they operate, you know, the environmental footprint of those, the engineering aspects of that, working out the efficiencies, working out where we can gain better fuel consumptions, but about, you know, there's a whole raft of different applications to our work. And I think the EDP program, you know, gives you the opportunity to move between parts of the group, as Jake was saying earlier, and actually then, you know, we have some of our colleagues in Singapore who are, you know, graduates from this program, and actually work in, you know, different parts of the group over many years, and it's I think a very fulfilling career for people who want to challenge themselves. Particularly those who want to travel. A lot of doors are opened to people who wish to give a travel into another part of the world within the region a chance. And also sometimes we get the opportunity, as people get more senior, they can potentially move into, again, almost a different area and broaden their skill sets.
Thank you so much, Simon, and your passion really shines through there. Can tell that you love what you do and you're the right person for the job. And thanks for all the support.
No problem.
I'll take one last question, which is, if someone has basic English proficiency, will it have any impact? The working language of ABL Group is English, and because we run complicated engineering projects, we need people to be very well versed in the English language. We still, across regions, we do work in regional languages, but the basic language and the working language is English. So we need people that have a quite good proficiency in English. That doesn't mean that you can't learn. There's still time until September. So if you are struggling a little bit, or if you're not 100% sure, there's still people that can support you. But just bearing that in mind, I think that's a fair answer to that question, Simon, especially you working in Asia, in APAC. Sorry, Simon. Yeah.
Yeah, sorry, I had a bit of trouble with my mic, but yeah, absolutely. English is the language we work in. Obviously, in our various countries, they each have their own languages as well, but it is important to be able to communicate in English internationally, and I think that is something which is, you know, ultimately going to be necessary.
Thank you for that. And that's all the questions we have time for. We are slightly over time, but I think that's okay. Thanking you all for bearing with us. If you have any further questions, or if you can think about anything that you forgot to ask, please do reach out. We will be reaching out to the successful applicants in March. So keep your eyes peeled, and anything we can do to support you. If you need more information, whatever you need, we're here. The whole team.
Yep.
Me, Liam.
We look forward to hearing from everybody and seeing some great applications. So thank you very much.
But work on your applications, people.
Yeah, I would just say make sure you answer all the questions on the application.
Yeah, so that's important. So there are questions. The questions help us see if you're a good fit for the company, but also they help assess if we're a good fit for you. So please do put some effort in your applications and answer all the questions. That's very important.
Yep.
Thanks, Liam. Thanks, everyone. Have a wonderful evening now in Singapore, afternoon, evening in APAC. Thank you all for joining and looking forward to receiving your applications.
Thank you. Bye-bye.
Thanks, everyone.
Bye.
Bye for now.
Thank you.